Most people don't stay stuck in life because of lack of opportunity. They stay stuck because of lack of vision. They're trapped not by the size of their problems, but by the size of their thinking. Today, I'm going to show you a truth so powerful it can rebuild your destiny. Your mindset, whether scarce or abundant, is the master key that unlocks or locks your future. Hello and welcome to the channel. I'm delighted you're here because what we're about to explore has the power to transform not only how you think, but what you attract, what you build, and what you ultimately become. Inside every human being there are two worlds: the interior world of thoughts, beliefs, and expectations, and the exterior world of results, opportunities, and outcomes. Your exterior world is nothing more than a mirror reflecting the interior world you carry. Change the mirror inside, and the world outside reshapes itself effortlessly. Scarcity thinking shrinks your world until you can barely breathe inside it. Abundance thinking expands your world until your dreams can run free within it. Today, we will dive into these two forces, understand them, challenge them, and master them. When I first began studying human success, I discovered something astonishing. People often live their lives believing that life's treasures, opportunities, wealth, and happiness are limited. They behave as though there is only one seat at the table, one chance to succeed, one opportunity to rise. This belief is the foundation of scarcity thinking. Scarcity thinking whispers, "There is not enough." And because the mind listens to what you whisper to it every day, it begins to create a reality that matches the whisper. What you fear, you attract. What you expect, you invite. What you focus on, you multiply. A person with a scarcity mindset looks at someone else's success and sees loss, not inspiration. They look at challenges and see danger, not opportunity. They see competition everywhere instead of creativity within themselves. In their interior world, they carry doubt, fear, pessimism, and a belief that life is a zero-sum game. If someone else wins, they must lose. If someone else grows rich, they must stay poor. If someone else speaks confidently, they must remain silent. The tragedy is not that life limits them. The tragedy is that their thinking limits them before life even gets a chance. But abundance thinking works in the opposite direction. Abundance thinking says, the world is full of opportunities. There is enough for everyone. My growth doesn't steal from others, and their success doesn't steal from me. When you cultivate abundance in your mind, you are not merely being positive, you are aligning your beliefs with the truth that opportunities expand when your mind expands. You stop seeing limits and start seeing possibilities. You stop asking, "Can I do this?" and start asking, "How can I do this?" The shift is subtle, but the effect is monumental. Let me paint a picture. Imagine you wake up every morning believing that life is full of abundance. You believe ideas are infinite, opportunities are everywhere, connections are waiting, and resources are plenty. Your stress level drops, your creativity expands. Your courage rises. You become a magnet instead of a beggar. You don't chase, you attract. And people who once kept their distance now move toward you because abundance thinking radiates confidence, clarity, and calmness. But let us take a deeper look at the interior world, because this is where transformation begins. Your interior world is the workshop in which your destiny is being built every single day. Scarcity thinking infects this workshop with fear. What if I fail? What if there's not enough? What if I lose everything? What if people judge me? These fears cloud your vision, slow your actions, and poison your decisions. If you examine every major failure in your life, you will find a moment where scarcity thinking whispered louder than abundance could speak. Abundance thinking, however, fills the interior world with energy. It says, if I lose, I will learn. If I fail, I will rise. If someone succeeds, I will be inspired. If an idea doesn't work, another one will. This thinking doesn't ignore reality, it transforms it. When you believe abundance exists, your brain begins searching for abundance. It begins filtering opportunities rather than limitations. It begins noticing solutions instead of problems. It begins turning setbacks into stepping stones. Now let us examine the exterior world. The exterior world is simply the projection of the interior world onto your life. Your relationships, money, career, opportunities, and lifestyle are reflections of the thoughts you've been nurturing. If you think small, your world becomes small. If you think big, your world grows big. If you embrace scarcity, life will feel scarce. Your bank account, your relationships, your creativity, all of it will shrink. If you embrace abundance, life will feel generous. A man once told me he could never start a business because the market was too saturated. That is scarcity. Another man told me the same market was full of unsolved problems waiting for someone bold enough to solve them. That is abundance. One of them waited for luck. The other created opportunity. Their exterior results came not from circumstance, but from their interior world. Scarcity thinking robs people of action. It convinces them to stay in their comfort zone because stepping into the unknown feels risky. But what they do not realize is that the comfort zone is the most dangerous place in the world. It kills dreams slowly. Abundance thinking, however, pushes you forward. It says, the unknown is not empty, it is full of possibilities. When you embrace abundance, your courage grows faster than your fears, and your actions become aligned with expansion rather than survival. You must remember the mind is the most powerful broadcasting device in the universe. Whatever frequency you tune it to, scarcity or abundance determines the signal you send to life, and life always echoes the signal back to you. If you broadcast fear, you receive obstacles. If you broadcast doubt, you attract confusion. If you broadcast abundance, life sends you chances, ideas, and miracles wrapped in disguise. Now let us go deeper into the personal transformation that occurs when a person shifts from scarcity to abundance. This transformation does not happen by accident. It happens through awareness, decision, and action. The first step is awareness. Most people do not even realize they think in terms of scarcity. They believe their thoughts are simply reality. They do not see that their thoughts are creating their reality. I once met a young man who wanted to grow wealthy, but every time an opportunity appeared, he sabotaged it. Why? Because deep inside he believed wealth was meant for others, not for him. His interior world rejected abundance, even while his exterior world begged for it. This conflict kept him trapped. Only when he became aware of his beliefs did he begin to reshape his destiny. Scarcity thinking often comes from childhood environments where money was tight, opportunities were limited, or adults constantly spoke about survival instead of growth. But abundance thinking can be learned at any age. It begins when you make a conscious decision. I will no longer entertain thoughts of lack. Your mind is your servant, you are not its slave. You decide what grows inside it. The second step is decision. Abundance is not something that shows up. It is something you choose. You decide that you will no longer compete with others, but compete with your past self. You decide that you will stop seeing problems and start seeing potential. You decide that you will no longer fear failure because failure is simply feedback. Once you make this decision, the interior world begins shifting. The soil becomes fertile. New seeds can grow. The third step is action. Abundance thinking without action is daydreaming. When you think abundantly, you act boldly. You apply for the job others fear. You start the business others doubt. You invest in yourself while others make excuses. You speak up while others stay silent. You connect with people while others isolate themselves. Every action aligned with abundance strengthens the belief. Let us talk about relationships. Scarcity thinking damages relationships because it says, I must protect myself. I must not trust too much. People might hurt me. But this mindset blocks love, connection, and communication. Abundance thinking says, there is plenty of love in the world. There are good people. I can build healthy connections. As soon as you believe this, you begin attracting better people because you no longer radiate fear. You radiate openness. Consider time. Many people believe they do not have enough time. That is scarcity. But abundance thinking says, I have enough time for what truly matters. Suddenly, priorities become clear, distractions lose their power, and productivity rises. The same 24 hours feels entirely different because your interior world has shifted. Consider money. Scarcity thinking says, money is hard to earn, hard to keep, and hard to grow. Abundance thinking says, money is a tool. It flows to value. I can create value. The moment you shift your thinking, your relationship with money changes. You stop fearing it. You stop hoarding it. You stop worshiping it. Instead, you begin using it wisely, confidently, and purposefully. Let us examine the mindset of people who rise from nothing to greatness. They are not the smartest, nor the strongest, nor the luckiest. They are simply the ones who believed in abundance even when their environment screamed scarcity. They believed opportunities existed even when none were visible. They believed solutions existed even when problems were overwhelming. They believed their future could be greater than their past, even when the world doubted them. This is why abundance thinking is not delusion, it is vision. And vision is the force that bends reality. Scarcity thinking sees the world as fixed. Abundance thinking sees the world as flexible. Scarcity says, "This is who I am." Abundance says, "This is who I can become." Now let us talk about fear. Scarcity thinking uses fear as armor. It tries to protect you from failure by convincing you not to try. But abundance thinking uses fear as fuel. It recognizes fear as a sign that you are growing, expanding, stretching. It understands that fear is the door to greatness. If something scares you, it means you're stepping into a bigger version of yourself. Scarcity runs from fear. Abundance walks through it. Imagine for a moment that you hold a cup of water. Scarcity thinking sees the cup as half empty and worries it will run out. Abundance thinking sees it as refillable, that the world is full of water sources, that you can always pour more, grow more, become more. When your cup feels empty, abundance thinking doesn't panic, it searches for the source. Let us return again to the interior world. The interior world is shaped through repetition. If you repeat scarcity thoughts, they become beliefs. If you repeat abundance thoughts, they also become beliefs. The mind is neutral, it grows whatever you plant. If you plant lack, you grow limits. If you plant abundance, you grow possibilities. Consider language. A person with scarcity thinking says, "I can't. It's too hard. I don't know how. What if it doesn't work?" A person with abundance thinking says, "I'll figure it out. Let me try. I can learn. What if it works?" The difference between these two sets of words is the difference between a life of hesitation and a life of action. Every time you choose abundance language, your brain forms new pathways. Your confidence grows, your vision grows, your courage grows, your capacity grows. Abundance thinking is not a motivational trick, it is a neurological strategy. Now consider imagination. Scarcity imagination creates nightmares. It imagines failure, embarrassment, disaster. Abundance imagination creates dreams. It imagines success, growth, impact. The mind does not differentiate between imaginary and real danger. It reacts to both. Therefore, if you imagine scarcity, you live in fear. If you imagine abundance, you live in expansion.